The Butler Radio Network now presents The Daily Focus. The program can be heard live each weekday on WISR 680 AM and 107.5 FM. It can also be heard on WISR680.com. Like and subscribe to The Daily Focus wherever you listen to your podcast. The Daily Focus is presented by Cunningham Shaner, a name you know, service you trust. Now, here's your host, Tyler Friel.
Welcome to the program, listeners. Tyler Friel with you on WISR 680 AM, 107.5 FM. This is The Daily Focus. We're brought to you by Cunningham Shaner, a name you know and service you can trust. Well, I know we've been talking a lot here in the new year about New Year's resolutions, and that may be eating healthier, exercising more, all those different things. But today we're going to take a look at that angle, but also include our furry friends. We're going to talk about your pets, dogs, and your overall well-being. Our guest today is Dr. Kelly Fishman. She is the founder and director of Strut Animal Mobility Specialists. She joins us by telephone. Dr. Fishman, thanks for taking the time and welcome to the program.
Thank you, Tyler. I'm happy to be here and share some New Year's resolutions we can have for our dogs.
So let's just take a look at that relationship between us and our dog. I mean, obviously, anybody that we know that has a dog, these are, an addition of the family. They are a family member. And so that relationship between pet owners and the pets themselves, especially the dogs, why is that so important? What have we found about the importance in that relationship?
So for people, we all know the benefits of having a dog. That I probably don't even have to list it for you. The main one that I always think of that we all benefit from is all the cuddles and kisses and how much of a stress reducer that is. So that's something that's, intuitive. We all know, we've all experienced, but there's actually been a couple studies that have shown how beneficial dogs can be for human health. So for example, one of the ones I recently read was how if you've had a stroke or a heart attack, if you are not alone in your recovery, you do better. And that's kind of something we realize, right? But what you may not have realized in that study is they actually showed that a dog or even a cat companion can be as beneficial as having your daughter in the home with you, helping to care for you. So that's pretty incredible. And then the other one that was interesting is looking at seniors with dementia. Now, if you're a senior citizen and you have a dog, your brain age actually decreases, but becomes more youthful. So dog ownership is so amazing that way. And then since I'm a veterinarian that really specializes in exercise and nutrition, that's kind of my special angle. I always think of exercise for my dogs and for my people. And having a dog, especially like right now, it's cold outside and looking outside my window, there's snow, it's 29 degrees. And, if I have a dog, they're like, we got to go for a walk. And I'm going to be very excited about it. It's cold. You may not want to go, but you have to get out of this house and you have to go on a walk. So there's so many wonderful things that we get from them. And then I kind of come in as a veterinarian and I say, what can I do to help your dog to make sure that they're living their longest lives and their best lives? So, it's a way to give back to them for all the great things they do for us.
Yeah, well, let's take a look at that angle too. But I want to focus on the nutritional aspect of it, right?
Cool.
Because there can be, you watch TV, you go online. At times it can be overwhelming, right, as to what offers and products are out there as to the best things to give our dog. So on the nutritional side of it, Dr. Fishman, what should we be on the lookout for? What do we need to know about making sure that we are giving our dog a very well-balanced nutritional diet?
So there's a couple things I want to say. First off is most of us feed kibble to our dogs, and kibble is highly processed. It's full of carbohydrates, but we feed it because it is easy, it's inexpensive, you can leave it out all day, and some of the other alternatives that I wish I could feed my dog, like fresh food diets. Those are pricey, they're hard to find. So what can you do from just a basic nutrition sort of thing? You have to feed kibble. I would always suggest taking about a scoop of that kibble away and replacing it with fresh food. And fresh foods that I usually suggest to my clients are apples, eggs, veggies. They love them, and it's a really good way to just add a little bit of that fresh food and kind of keep your dog out of that processed food, center of the grocery store that we are told to stay away from. And the other thing you can do with a kibble, if you have to feed it, is add some supplements to it. So kind of by the top three that I really like to suggest, and one is probiotics. Probiotics are something that, when I have dogs come in and they have diarrhea, stomach upset, they got into the trash, like stomach isn't doing very well, like I love to prescribe probiotics for that. And then also antibiotics. Of course, like if they have a course of antibiotics because they're sick and they're not doing so well after, certainly probiotics are good for that. But the thing is most people don't really know is that probiotics are actually beneficial for so many things other than gut health. And this is something new that we're learning in the human world, but actually also in the dog world. So I recently found out that probiotics can be very calming for animals. We actually have studies that show that. They're also great for dogs with like allergies. So if you have a dog that suffers from a food allergy, starting them on a probiotics can be really helpful for that. So definitely probiotics are a way to go. Like gut health is super important, and it's a great addition to all of your diet. And another one that no one really knows about, but a lot of us rehab vets know about, and that's an ingredient called corticotropin. And what that is an ingredient that is naturally found in fertilized egg yolks. And this ingredient basically helps to build up muscle. And we've never really thought about building up muscle in dogs. Like in the vet rehab world, I've had, which I've been doing for 10 years, every client I talk to about muscle health, they're hunting dogs, they're agility dogs, they're senior dogs that are losing muscle because they're seniors, or they just had surgery. So of course, like muscles is super important thing for me to talk about with them. But most general practitioner veterinarians and most just like people out there, like don't think about how important muscle health is. So that's something that I'm kind of on a little bit of a soapbox on to try to spread the word about how important muscle health is and how we can't like forget about that, in our little dogs. And it's one of the things I always say, like, if I'm as a person, I'm over 30 years old, I'm losing muscle mass as I age, I could go to the human health like food store, I could go to like Giant, and there's like a whole section for like doggy muscle supplements. And if you go to the pet food store, there's nothing except for this one ingredient, corticotropin, which is all natural and found in ingredients or in products like MYOS PET is an example of a product that naturally has corticotropin in it. So that's another big one.
Yeah, you talk about muscle health then on the nutritional side, but when it comes to exercise or making sure that the muscle health of our dog does stay in good shape, is there anything we can do outside of the nutritional aspect to make sure that our muscle health of the dog is in good shape?
Yeah, and so it's basically exercise. So again, if I'm a person, I'm losing my muscle mass, it's the nutrition to feed the muscles, but then it's also exercise to build the muscles. And you wouldn't believe it, but in the dog rehab world, we have hundreds of exercises for our dogs. We can teach them to do dog squats and doggy push-ups. And one of the really cool ones that I could just explain really quickly that pretty much most everyone can incorporate into their own dog's daily routine is something that I like to call doggy ninja warrior. And what that is you kind of set up a little obstacle course for your dog to walk over. So for example, it could be a Bosu ball to an air mattress, to a little jump, to an agility tunnel or agility weave, whatever you have around your house that's a little bit unstable that you could kind of use to kind of have your dog walk over. And then as they're walking over it, they're building body awareness, they're building muscle, and, also cardiovascular health. So it's a great little way to kind of like, at home, do something really great for your dog that's more than just a walk. Because while I like walks for my dog, they aren't really doing anything to build muscle just like us. Like if I want to build a lot of strength, I have to do exercises. I just can't do walks all day. So really try to think above and beyond that. So that's a great exercise that I like. I also really suggest that people do lots of stretching for their dogs, like dog yoga. You can kind of do the downward dog pose with your dog. And that's really easy. So it's really easy. You basically have your dog stand up. You kind of go along the side of them. You take a treat, you put it directly between their little paws, and they put, obviously bend down to try to eat the treat. And then in doing that, that forces that natural down dog position that you would do in yoga. It's stretching their hamstrings and stretching their spine, and a great warm up, especially in cold days. So that's a great one too.
Can I put the treat down on the floor for myself as well?
Yeah, yes, you could.
Okay.
You can do it together.
Again, we're here talking with veterinarian Dr. Kelly Fishman about ways that we can interact with our dog for our health and their health as well. When you're talking, we all hear the terminology aging in dog years. But what do we actually know about the aging of a dog? Is it the same for every breed? Does it change from one dog to the other? And what is happening over the course of that time in our dog's lifetime when you talk about that, again, quote unquote, aging in dog years?
Yeah. So basically, we were always taught, or always have heard, that there is every year of our life, our dog ages 7 years. And actually, that was a marketing campaign for the 1950s and completely false. So it's actually really, really more complicated. And everybody kind of like knows this, but doesn't really know it. But we all know that a Great Dane, they age a lot faster, meaning that they only live to 7. So at the end of their life, their entire lifespan is 7 years. But I have a Chihuahua who's 18 years old.
Wow.
He's really old. And, so he's lived his life, he's aging slower than that other dog. And actually it gets a little bit complicated, but what's going on, but we're starting to find out that those small breed dogs have a certain kind of biochemistry about them that makes them age slower. And in fact, there's some biotech companies looking into why that is. And then it's with the hopes of eventually, 10 years from now, developing a drug to try to stimulate some of that slower aging that our little Chihuahuas and our small breed dogs have.
So as you take a look at the things that we can do then for our dog's health, and I don't know if does it actually help longevity of our dog, or does it just keep them more active as they get older?
So you mean like in terms of exercise?
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. So what and why? So basically, we have found that exercise does a couple key beneficial things. One is it actually helps the immune system. So if you do moderate exercise with your dog every day, they actually have increased antibody production and have a stronger immune system, which is really great. The other thing that it does is it helps with learning and memory. So if you have a dog and they're kind of getting a little bit older and you're worried about doggy dementia, which I don't know if you've ever had a dog with that or if anyone has had a dog with that, but it's a really sad condition because they start to actually get confused and they start to kind of get a little bit restless in the middle of the night. And that actually, just like in people, is kind of like a confusion, a dementia state. And exercise is beneficial in memory and actually helping that condition. So when I have people come in and tell me that their dog has that, I actually will recommend that they exercise their dog. Also great for behavior issues, maybe not so much a longevity issue, but exercising your dog that has some anxiety or behavior issues is super beneficial in alleviating that. And it's a great, maintaining muscle mass is a great thing. It also helps to prevent injury and and all that sort of thing. It keeps you moving, which is not even just like how long you live, but how well you live.
Mm-hmm. Again, we're talking with veterinarian Dr. Kelly Fishman. If there's one big piece of advice that you would give to any new pet owner out there, maybe they got a dog for the holidays or right around the holidays, what would you want to tell them?
A little puppy?
Yeah.
So my favorite thing to tell people who have puppies is when you get a puppy, you focus so much on behavior. You go to your doggy, behavior class, and he learns how to sit, and he learns how to be a good boy, and do all those sorts of things. But no one really thinks about doing physical things for their dog. So, for example, when I have people have a puppy, I say, can you please do a couple things for me? Here are the top two. One is, can you walk them over a variety of different surfaces? So find like a ramp that's a little bit unstable and walk them up and down that so they get used to kind of unstable surfaces. And actually, when they're an older dog, don't have a fear of having to go up and down elevators and in other situations where the ground is a bit unstable or shaky. So that's something. Another big thing that I tell them is to do things like being able to remember to find their feet. And this is actually something that a lot of people with agility dogs or hunting dogs, so dogs in the sporting world do. So basically what that means is teaching your dog to do like backwards walking up onto surfaces. So a surface would be, for example, like a little cushion. So they would backwards walk up onto the cushion. And in doing that, as a puppy who isn't necessarily 100% the most coordinated little being yet, they're learning to really figure out where their feet are. And if they learn that as a puppy, when they're an adult dog and a senior dog, and they're starting to lose that body awareness, they're more likely to lose it slower because as a puppy, you trained it into them. So it's like kind of like when you're a kid and you learn sports and you learn how to kick or do ballet. If you're an adult, you have that later on in life. So really thinking about doing physical kind of things with your puppy that kind of teach them body awareness and balance and confidence over unstable surfaces is super important.
We've covered a lot of territory here, Dr. Fishman, but in case people want to learn a little bit more, where can they check out?
Yeah, so you can definitely find me on Instagram at Strut Animal. I also have a website, Strut Animal, and I will be putting lots of these videos of my dog patients doing all their fun exercises up there. If you're interested in learning more about the phototropin ingredient, which is found in MYOS PET, you could visit their website, MYOS PET, and learn all about all the great studies behind the product, and then what kind of animals really benefit from it, and then also how to purchase it.
Fantastic stuff. Veterinarian Dr. Kelly Fishman, again, founder of Strut Animal Mobility Specialists. Dr. Fishman, thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Tyler. It's great talking to you.
Hey, if you missed any of our program, as always, you can find it online. WISR680.com is the place to take care of that. We're also available on Spotify as well by searching for The Daily Focus. We're brought to you by Cunningham Shaner, a name you know and service you can trust.